Alright, now that we're done with our mud house package or story, we need to title it. We need to put lower thirds on it for each of our interviewees. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to make sure you have your cursor down here. I like to put it over the first person that I'm going to make a lower thirds title for. Then we're going to go up here to title, new title, and you're going to go down to based on template. Okay, on based on template. So then you're going to come down here and you're going to be able to see, if you scroll down, there will be one that says lower thirds. And you can do this little drop down arrow. And I like to click that first lower third, and then you can kind of skim through and see the ones you like. Now, I am going to require that everyone does this one right here. So we're just going to go down to 1047, and there's a reason, and this is the one I like the best. But it has two lines. We need the title on the top, which is the name, and then we need a descriptor underneath. But we're going to have to do some changing to that one. But we're going to go OK. And so now it's going to pop up into our title window. And the one thing you need to understand about any time you're making a title is that it's just showing what's in the background there. That's not permanent. If I move my cursor over here, it's just a black background. And when I'm done with it, you'll see it'll be down here in this bin, and it will just be a file that you can put and move anywhere. And so once I do that, I'll show you. But I like to put it over that person just so you get a feel for what it looks like. Alright, so we know, so I can come on right in here, I have the text highlighted, and I just highlighted with that top title one, and we know from looking at the board that this person's name is Britt Feldhaus. And she is a Mudhouse employee. Make sure it is spelled correctly. Everything must be spelled correctly. Her name, that's so important. Okay, Mudhouse employee. So you can just type it in right there. But I am not a big fan of this text and the way it looks. I don't think it stands out correctly. Alright, so I'm simply going to change the red outline of that, and so if you see, you can have either one of these selected, whether it's the bottom descriptor or the top name, and you can see over here we've got this title properties, and you can change a lot of different things. If you scroll down, so I'm on the top name here, and I scroll down and you see the shadow right here. It's a red shadow. We can kind of go over here and you click on that color red, and then you'll be able to come through here and make some changes. You can, let's try a different, color. I want to go a little darker. Let's try maybe a dark blue here. Click OK. I just think that that's better. I mean, I'm happy with actually just going with a black as well. You see the difference? How I feel it stands out better. And so we're going to change this one here from red to a black as well. And you can see that, I don't know, I think it stands out. Maybe, I want to add an outer stroke to it instead. So on the edge size, maybe this one here, we can go with the blue here. See what we got going on here. So, and you can see I'm on the Mudhouse employee down there. Made that right in here. We can do the same thing here. Outer stroke, we can add that. Go to the blue. You see it's just a little bit of a stroke there. And if you change the size of that stroke, I'm just dragging it down, it goes a little bigger. I actually probably like it less. So I'm on this one here, I'm at 17. I'm going to make 17 down here instead of 31. Okay, so now they're even right there. And, maybe it's too much blue, but there you go. Okay, so here's the thing you can do. So if you click close out of it, it automatically is saved down here in your project. So what you'll do is you'll take that and you bring it and you drag it on top, and it'll go right here. Now you can drag it as short as you want, as long as you want. All right. One thing about your title is we only need to see it the first time we see them, and should be about 4 to 5 seconds at least in length, and you need to be able to read it at least 2 or 3 times. Okay. The other thing is we should only, the rest of that person should always be covered up with B-roll, or it could be the opposite. Like when I come down here, I'll show you this one. But you can open this up instead of having to redo it every time because we want them to match. I click down here, open this up, and you go to new title based on current title. Right now it's going to list it as title 2, and you see down here it shows up as title 2. And so for this next one, I want to go to Linda Shamshak. And it looks like it's over top of it. That's only because that's where my cursor is. So if I move my cursor, you can tell. And in fact, I want to move my cursor over top of Linda face there. So then we got Linda Shamshak, and I can just close it out. I don't even need to name it, but I like naming it sometimes. But I'm just gonna go boom right here. And so now, if you look at what I got for Linda, so here she's talking, but there's B-roll. She's talking, and you can't hear that. But now then, if you can see here, there's B-roll at the beginning, and then at the end is where you're going to need to put the title. And so that's just a different way to do it. So I'm going to put it up over here, and I can put it on video 3. I can move it down to video 2. It's up to you. But you'll see that I have to drag it over and make it, and I'm going to zoom in so that I can see that it's right. Okay, so now you'll see, there you go, you got there, Linda Shamshak. And now then we got to do the same thing for Dan Olson. So you go make a new one here, title 3, and you're going to change his name, Dan Olson. Make sure it's spelled right. Is it an O-N? Is it an E-N? You look at the board. You would look in your notes, wherever. But now he is not an employee. He is a Mudhouse customer. All right, so you type that in and then save, and you've got it down here. And then you're going to click and drag it up over here. And you can put it on title 3 or video 3 or on video 2. Okay, so those are your titles right in there. The last thing you really want to do is you want to come through and you want to make sure your audios are set and they are correct. Okay, so I like to do this, click my audio levels down so I can see them. I like to double check over here where our audio levels need to be. Our audio levels need to be at a -9 in here. Okay, so which means that they need to average between at a -9. It doesn't mean that they need to top out at -9. It means that audio can go above it and below it, but the average should be -9. If you need to bring it up or down, you can right click on it, go to audio gain, adding 2 or 3 decibels, 4 decibels, or if it needs to be lowered, you can go -4 or -2 or 3, whatever it is, and then you can it'll adjust that way. Typically you'd see the audio levels here, and I'm not sure why you're not able to see them at this point. So titles and audio, make sure. The other thing you want to do is when you're finishing up is make sure you don't have any jump cuts, black blips in it. Like a black blip would be like if I move this thing right here, and sometimes it's hard to notice it because it gets so zoomed in. But if I were to just kind of move this right here, okay, and you wouldn't typically see that. You don't see that on that timeline, but as you're watching it, boom, you see that there's a little black blip, and so we don't want that. So you'd have to kind of double check and make sure. I can right click and ripple delete and bring that back in there. Alright, so then when you're done, you want to go File, Export, Media, change your format to H.264, preset you want to change down to Android tablet 1080p 29.97. The output name, this changes the name and the location of where you're going to go. So you're going to, first thing you do is you got to put your first name and last name. And then you're going to call it Mudhouse, capitalize Mud. And where you're going to save it is the other thing. So this is where it's going, and so you can just go right on the desktop and find the folder that your Mudhouse folder, or just any folder, or just right on the desktop if you want. Hit save and then export. You can see that it's going to export, and it'll take a little bit of time to do that. We'll pause for a second here. Alright, so that just got done exporting, and then I can go and find out where it exported to, and here's my desktop. I exported it to the Mudhouse folder on the desktop, and that's right here. And so there is that exported piece. So then what I'm going to want to do is go to my Colab, and then you can upload that straight, drag this right into the assignment. And there you go. Thank you.